of it's kind of funny because it's the same Norse-looking guy, but he's got a red nose.
What's a good Norse name?
Einstok.
Einstock.
Well, let's name the beer.
Big
Or how about Thor?
Icelandic guy.
Thor's a good Icelandic
They
name.
used to laugh and call him names until he just.
Their
crushed them.
Christmas beer is a Doppelbock. It's an Icelandic Doppelbock.
Okay.
And it has the label has a Norse-looking.
Of course,
Norse,
they're
a Viking dude, and they're very consistent in their branding and labeling.
The thing that was curious about what you said there is I didn't find anything on their Doppelbock, but everything else they make are ales, and
here's
it's
the Doppelbock.
what happened was about 20 years ago, there were three guys who were not Scandinavian. It gave their names, but it didn't say where they were from. They were probably either North American or English, British. And they went there in search of the water. There is it's extremely what's the word I'm looking for? It's filtered because of all the volcanic activity that they've had there over the millions of years. And the water goes through all the volcanic ash and gets filtered out. They're also at the end of the longest fjord in Iceland.
Not to be confused with the Viking Fjord, which is a terrible vodka.
Oh, I'm not familiar with it. Probably because it's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Danny, your beer is coming. You be patient.
No, I just didn't know what.
Hush your eyes.
Another thing is that
Everybody's got a beer but me.
I know. Just hang on.
Are you?
I am
Well,
de-sedimented.
While you guys do your
Well,
desedimenting,
I'd like to know what's going on with
I'm going to pronounce this place in Iceland. That actually is this Einstok is brewed.
Oh,
A Kyrieri?
it sounds like it's related to Valhalla.
Kyrie.
Kyrieri. I mean, I can throw it on a translator. I'm doing my best.
It's basically we're losing our Icelandic fan base.
Yeah.
They're shaking their heads, saying, "No, they just can't speak our language."
They're like,
It's a good thing we speak
stupid
English.
Americans.
Well, Einstock, I hope it's close.
I would say it's a Curie. Just a Curie. That's how I would say
I
it. But
would go
I
along
know
with Dave
nothing
Senior.
about Icelandic speaking, but
Curie or
A
Curie?
Curie, I'd say.
oh, they have a phrase that goes along with this one. It's drink, conquer, repeat.
Yes.
That sounds like a Viking
notice
phrase.
Here's the porter.
now what was
Border.
Border.
Drink, conquer, repeat.
now what was taking Mark so long to get Danny her beer, as she sat so patiently waiting, was that there's a lot of
On the
sediment
tip
in
of my
this beer,
toes.
and he was rolling the beer around, trying to loosen that sediment up that so genuinely has all the vitamins and minerals that you need.
Fabulous.
So I just want to point out
Healthy.
to all the heavy metal folks out there listening to the show, this is a very metal beer.
It's a very
there
metal
are
beer.
crossed battle axes on the cap.
Yep.
It is their logo. Everyone knows that I do love a good crossed battle axe logo. This guy on the cover, let's call him Leif.
Yeah, big Viking.
Leif Erikson. He's the son of Eric, the Red. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So anyway, a couple things about this that I thought was a little bit weird. So this is ale brewed with Icelandic roasted coffee. Now
Exactly, yeah.
I've had coffee in Iceland, but
Coffee doesn't grow in Iceland.
it doesn't grow there.
No.
It grows in like Africa,
Yeah.
South America.
South America.
Yeah.
Coffee grows
Hawaii.
on mountains.
Well, no,
Yeah.
these mountains are a little bit too cold.
A little too
Yeah.
cold.
Yeah. But
But,
they must do their own roasting, I suppose.
Yeah, I imagine, much like many other places in the world,
like
they
Seattle.
get
Roasting
they
in
get
an
the-
Icelandic way.
They get the green beans and then they roast them there. It is a dynamic flavor profile and a very unique one. I would consider to be, I would say that this beer would make sense to me if it was from like Seattle or Portland.
Oh yeah.
But the fact that it's actually from Iceland is it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, this beer would be awesome if it was from Seattle or Portland as well, but I think it's more dynamic because of the fact that it's actually from Iceland.
Another thing that's interesting is that beer was not allowed to be produced for, I believe, 60 years
Yes.
in Iceland, up
Yes.
until 1989, I think
Yes.
it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very
Imagine,
true.
what kind of a
It's actually-
society would that be?
It's actually what
Well,
it's actually what I'm reading right now, but it's also
They drank a lot of vodka. No, they do. I mean,
do?
Yeah, when I was in Iceland, I mean, everyone drank vodka. No one drank beer. I'm Kevin Mark, and you're listening to Key West Beer Tales, the sum of all beers. So anyway, yeah, when I was there, I think I paid for a beer, and it was I paid an
$30.
exorbitant amount of money. Yeah, it was a lot of money, and I was like, whoa. And I turned to my buddy who's Icelandic, and I was like, whoa, that's a lot. How do you guys? And they're like, we don't drink beer.
Was this a locally brewed beer, or was this an import?
No,
Well-
this
No, I mean the beer you were drinking there, was it an import?
it was an import.
Okay.
At the time, I don't know if there was I would have definitely drank a locally brewed beer
Yeah, what
had I
happened-
seen it.
With this beer, and I didn't jot the name down, so I don't recall the original name, and I should have. However, this beer, there was a beer company, and when these three people who were mentioned went looking for the ultimate mineral water, they found this brewery there, and I'm thinking the name of the brewery was Victory, but I'm not sure. But they found this brewery, and then they decided to invest into it and making beer. So there was beer being made in Iceland,
Yeah.
but again, it's only been made since 1989, and they're very proud of their brewmaster, who they've sent to Scotland to a beer brewing school, and he's also gone to Germany and also studied in Denmark. Has a lot of background with Löwenbräu, if you will,
Löwenbräu.
and also Carlsberg. He's done a lot of studying there, and they're very proud of him.
Great.
Yeah, he's probably
Yeah.
a very good brewer.
Yeah, I think this is a fantastic beer.
It is.
This is a very complex beer. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say also a little bit on the inexpensive side.
Yeah,
it's
this-
surprisingly.
This does not have the screw cap like the Mexican beer, but
Totally.
Tell me if you see the slight gray head.
Yeah.
You see that, right?
Yeah,
That slight
I
gray
do.
head on that.
I do.
It's almost like the top of a Cuban espresso, but not quite as thick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, like I mean, the coffee on this is like, there's so much caramel in here, and there's so much like, you get the earthiness
Yeah.
and the sweetness off and the malty. Like, oh god, it's really great.
Yeah, I'm not knocking the other beer that we had, but this beer is a much more complex beer.
Yeah. It's a better
this
beer.
is. And again, for those who don't know, we're having Einstok is the name of the beer we're having, and this is
Einstoko.
yeah Einstoko with the with the Germans call the umlaut. I don't know what they call it in Scandinavia. Maybe it's the same name. They have a similar language. And this is the
you don't know what the umlaut is. It's the two little dots over the O.
2 dots.
right. And this is the Icelandic toasted porter that we're having. They have a few different beers, and that's the one we're having this evening.
This one is actually, I was just looking that up. It's brewed 60 miles south of the Arctic Circle.
I think I said that earlier.
Did you?
Yeah.
Arctic.
Was I sleeping through that?
Wait, it was brewed
Just talking about something
100,
else.
100 feet from 60 miles on the Arctic Circle.
We'll get that 100 feet somewhere.
Were there any reindeer involved?
There were 100 feet of reindeer.
100 feet of reindeer.
I believe that they use the hooves to brew. Never mind. I'm
No.
not
they use the hooves of the reindeer to crush the malt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
To
I was
mash
gonna
the
say
malt.
to
Mash the
burn.
malt.
Ever so gently.
Yes.
Uh,
Gently
lo-
mashed
I
by
was gonna say
reindeer
to cut 'em off and
reindeer
burn 'em to
hooves.
burn it underneath it. Oh, man, I'm getting into
This says lager malt, Munich malt, chocolate malt, and Bavarian hops.
Bavarian.
Right. It doesn't
Bavarian
state.
hops or barbarian hops?
Bavarian.
Barbarian
I
hops.
thought he said barbarian too.
There's no
It's the,
R.
it's the cross.
Bavarian.
It's the cross.
Bavarian.
Yeah,
It's
the
the cross
interest-
axis.
Yeah, the interesting thing about their hops is that when you go on their site and you look at another one, it has the Royal Bavarian hops listed.
Another one of their beers.
So
that they
these
brew.
they're using with this one. They're not using a very complex hop.
So it does have some of that effervescence. It does some have that lightness, but it is more complex, no doubt about it.
Yeah, of Quite so.
and you can sip it and continually try to figure this one out.
Yeah, really.
Hey, so traditional toast in Iceland is
Skål!
and that is to drink from your enemy's skull, literally.
Sorry.
You know,
Just kidding.
it is a
Yeah.
toast of achievement. You have won,
You're
and you're going to
supreme.
drink out of your enemy's skull.
And then run off with their wives.
Yes. Well. Yes.
There's a lot of things that just went through my head. I'm not going to say it.
You know, I like how when you drink it, it starts off very like effervescent and light toward the beginning of the tongue. As it gets to the back, it gets more intense and finishes off
Good
very
observation.
chocolatey. Very not chocolate. I wouldn't call it
Coffee.
chocolate. It's more like a
Coffee.
yeah, but there's the coffee, but there's also this kind of cocoa, like cocoa powder.
Yeah.
More than like
Cacao.
chocolate.
Cacao.
Yeah, it's not like eating Reese's. It's not like eating Reese's. Stop.
Stop
It's
it.
not like eating the Reese's cups. It's more like the kind of cocoa powder, the cacao powder. It's more like cacao. Cacao. Cacao.
I had to do it.
And
I-
unfortunately, Danny was coming out with this really prolific statement, which was really significant,
I don't know about prolific, but maybe profound. I don't know.
profound, significant.
I'm sorry, Dan. I didn't mean to interrupt.
But
you.
it was hysterically funny. I have to
You
say.
know, Mark did say cacao twice, and twice.
Cacao.
And all I could think of was cacao.
Trice. That's Trice is like 2.5 times.
Yes.
Train
Like
number
a tricycle.
one is
Big
train number
wheel and two
1 is
small
on
wheels.
track A. Radio show is
Radio show has
off the
derailed.
track.
We have derailed the radio show.
Rated the show is like cacao.
Cacao.
And make a note that Danny ran it off the track. just
Yeah, blame it on her.
The great North American.
All right.
So what would you pair this beer with? Cacao.
A bunch of children sometimes.
Yes, I know.
Oh. I would not pair it with a bunch of children.
So this is an ale.
Yes, it is an ale. Thank
That's
you.
using lager hops.
They're using malt.
Lager malts.
Yeah, they're using lager malt. But you can the making it an ale and a lager, of course, is the type of yeast you use. So you can use any type of malt you want in making any type of beer. But yeah, they're using some. They say lager malt. I don't know what that means. They have Munich malt. I understand that. They have chocolate malt. I understand that. And they say they have Bavarian hops. So they're just basically using Bavarian hops. I don't know which ones.
Well, you know this is
Do we have a bitterness IBUs on this?
No. Oh no.
Oh, of course.
No,
not.
no. They,
So I'm gonna,
it's
I'm
one
gonna
of the things
guess
we
this
talked
is
about before the show was
I'm gonna
Mark
say
and I were
pretty
talking.
It seems
Well, Mark and I were
similar
talking about
to-
the websites on both of these beers, and they really suck. They really do. I mean, that's the best way to go.
I do
But they
actually-
they do say that it's 6.0 ABV.
Yeah.
That's what they do tell us.
And,
And they tell us there's lager malt, Munich malt, caramel malt, or excuse me, chocolate malt, and Bavarian hops. It says slight addition of authentic Iceland roasted coffee, and that's the amount of the stats.
Yeah,
that they
I mean
give us.
that's everything I could pull off of there. I'm going to guess that the IBUs on this are probably about the same, maybe a little bit higher.
Yeah, maybe somewhere around 20,
Yeah,
21,
maybe.
right there.
And honestly, it tastes like it's a little bit higher than 6%.
They listed at 6.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying for me, it tastes like a little bit higher than 6%, and that might be a combination of all the different flavors actually involved, and might not have anything to do with the actual booze and quality of it.
I actually I just logged on to their website, and as you get onto it, it says, "Are you 21 years of age or older?" And it actually says in Icelandic, yes or no. And yes
Ja or
is
nay.
ja, which is
Ja.
J-A.
It's pronounced ja.
Ja.
So anyway,
Somebody else talk.
back to the beer.
Back to the beer. My pairings with this would be literally chocolate or wine.
Or wine?
Wine? What do you
Yeah,
mean? You would drink wine with a beer?
yeah.
Why is that?
You know, sometimes you want to have two things to drink. You don't do that.
Really?
I do it all the
He's a
time.
two-fisted drinker. That's what he is.
Actually, as a matter of fact, I go up and see Mark, and I have a Negroni, and I get a goes.
So, hey,
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
sometimes we have two different.
two-fisted drinker.
So, sometimes when we